In this video, we're talking about INFJs and ISFJs in a relationship, your similarities, your differences, what happens when bad things happen, and how you can bring them together in a way that's going to really rely on your superpowers based on your personality type, as well as support your partner, because I know that's what you want to do. What's up, game changers? Sherman here from Geek Psychology, helping you find your true character and level it up so you can play life better. So there are many similarities, as you would imagine, and many differences between INFJ and ISFJ. So one of the main similarities is that you both lead with what is technically called an introverted perceiving function. Okay, this is trying to protect you, believe it or not, from gathering information that you have to post-process or you have to deal with later in your own time. That's going to be negative. It's going to affect you in a way that you don't want it to happen. You have different ways of going about it, which we'll talk about a little bit later, but both of you do not want to put yourself in a situation where you can't control what is happening to you. And I know a lot of people feel like that, right? I mean, nobody wants to be completely taken control of and all these things to happen, but you have a specific particular connection to it. Okay? And so a lot of your defense strategies are trying to stop negative information from coming in, because you know that once it comes in, it's in you, and it's just something then you now have to deal with. It's now a part of you. Okay. Another one of the similarities is with your auxiliary and your tertiary function. So if you don't know personality type, this is your growth state, your upgrade, okay, your companion if you were to personify it, and the relief function. The one that's there to support you in continuing in the same behaviors. It's a way of intimacy as well, but it's often relied on as a way of stopping that bad information from coming in. Okay, and we're going to get more specific as we go through this, but just hold on a second. So for an INFJ and ISFJ, this is the FJ portion of the MBTI code. So this is extroverted feeling. That's what FJ is for, extroverted feeling. This is all about proactively supporting other people. It's about sharing yourself, sharing vulnerabilities of yourself to create a bond and a connection with other people. It's kind of this serving nature, this host or hostess type nature that wants to support other people and make sure that they feel good, make sure that socially everything is okay. I always, in terms of RPG mechanics, it's like the cleric. It's this unifying character that's out there healing everybody, making sure that everybody's got that AoE heal, everybody feels good, and you're able to go into the next fight. You're able to go into the next town and support the rest of the people if you don't want to consider it a fight. The tertiary function, though, this is introverted thinking for both of you. And what this is, I consider it analyzing. It's the analyzing wizard, okay, the analyzing adept. It's the character that's watching over and trying to absorb and assimilate the information that's necessary to make a leverageable decision. So what I mean by that is you look at it, you see all these different systems, these different nodes, these different points, right, that are all interrelated. And in real time, you're like, well, this is the thing that's a problem. We need to understand this better. We need to adjust this a little bit. We need to categorize it in a different way. We need to shape our understanding of this and truly understand it so that we can use that information better. But as a tertiary function, as I said, it doesn't come off as a strength. You might think you're good at it, And there's nothing against you. We all tend to think that we're better at our tertiary function than we really are. It comes out in times where you want to distance yourself from those feelings of other people. Okay, from the negative experiences that could happen within your dominant function, which we'll talk about, and what other people are doing or what's socially expected of you, other people's emotions, right? All that emotional stuff that's going on around you. When that gets overwhelming, you're like, whoop, it's time to protect ourselves. It's time to create some distance. And this is where that, you might know, when that feeling of just being cold and like shutting off and being a little bit critical or over judgmental comes in. Because it's like there's too much feeling stuff here, too much pressure, my boundaries, like I don't have them anymore, like I don't know what to do. I'm just going to keep serving you as I deteriorate and I lose all my mana. Well, in order to take a break from that, in order to relieve yourself from that, you go to the analyzing, introverted thinking. And you shut it off. And as you can imagine, that causes some difficulties. It's a place of bonding as well when it's used correctly. But, when you're shutting off one of your key strengths because you don't want to feel pain anymore, because you're too tired, too exhausted to bond with other people, and that's going to cause some relationship struggles. This position, this tertiary function, introverted thinking, analyzing, often brings in that perfectionistic quality from you, right? When things are just not going well and you're getting stressed out, you want everything to be perfect, right? You don't want to do things that are going to create more problems. You don't want to do the wrong thing because then it's going to cause all these social repercussions. And you can see kind of the system that's happening right there, right? And you don't want that to happen. So you get really perfectionistic on it. You over focus on it, but it's not necessarily your key skill. So it's going to take more time and more energy, and you just kind of get looped back in and you stay in an introverted place. And to solve your problems, a lot of times the introverted place is not going to be the key. This is coming from an introvert. You need to get out to do the things. We all introverts need more feedback, more engagement in the outer world in order to fix our problems. It doesn't feel like that, I know, but it is. It's true. The more experiences you have, the more engagement with the world that you have, the better you are equipped to control your circumstances and take charge of the world and put yourself out there. And you might not think that's what you want to do. I understand that, but there is a part of you that knows that it can be so much more if it just had more impact on the world. That you have these skills, these abilities, and by looping into introverted thinking, by overanalyzing things for the sake of protection, so that you don't feel harm, so that you don't feel bad about something. Deep down, you do know that's stopping you from helping humanity. It's hard. I understand that. I have my own variation of it. But it's something that you gotta do. It's something that you don't have to, you can do in order to make the world a better place, and in order to make your world a better place, and for your partner as well, and your family, the people that you really care about. And so for both of you, another similarity is the inferior or aspirational function. This is an extroverted perceiving function. Perceiving functions are how you gather information, how you learn about the world, how you take in information, and it's extroverted, so it's outside of yourself. So this puts you in, as a strength for like an EP, it would put them into a position of constantly engaging or innovating and being connected to what is emerging outside of themselves, what is happening right now. It's very fluid, very instinctive in a lot of ways. For both of you, this comes out in times of stress. This comes out when you don't get enough introverted time, perhaps. When things are too stressful outside of yourself with the relationship and things like that. When you've just been stuck looping over and over again between protecting yourself, gathering the information that's important to your worldview, and then making decisions on it without checking in with the outer world. When those are happening too much, your internal aspects that are like, we need more feedback. We need to get out of ourselves and experience the world and gain new information. Well, that's going to come in through this letting loose, this explosion of whim. Okay, so let's now talk a little bit about the differences between the dominant and the inferior function. And at the end, I'll throw in a recommendation for something you can do together to really maintain that harmony, to bond together. For an INFJ, your dominant function is Introverted Intuition. This is about deep diving into the mind. It's about understanding how your brain, your mind forms patterns. I know that from my experience, INJs a lot of times will go into themselves and understand okay, this is, if they're really healthy, this is a moment where I can understand more about how my mind works, how my mind forms these patterns and these habits. And so they go into an experience and have this realization of, okay, well, this is what I thought and this is what I did. And, these are the things that were in play right there. And so when I interact with another person, they're probably going through those same thoughts, like they're kind of accessing the same information in some way. I like to think of it as checking in with the dance, the ebb and flow of the universe. It's like changing your focus, your perception, detaching it a bit and bringing in this insight. Okay, bringing in the relevant information that's pointing to where things are going. And with that comes a lot of understanding of the implications and the meanings of things. And you might not realize how much more, you might not realize how much more you do this than other people. And because you spend so much time in this realm of visioning, of seeing things from different perspectives, different heights, different locations, different viewpoints, you tend to pick up on, unconsciously, a lot of other people's garbage. Like their psychic garbage. So whatever they're feeling, whatever they're thinking or going through, it just tends to seep into you. And you can't really stop that from happening. That's why I was calling it protecting. Right? That's the goal. That's a vulnerability and a goal that you have. Because when that information comes in, when you surround yourself with bad people and their just inner baggage is something that now you have to hold on to, it's awful. It's rough, isn't it? And you're just extremely sensitive to that. And so because of that, you don't want more people around you. You don't want to focus on unifying all the time, right? And serving other people and taking care of their needs and understanding the social interactions and implications, the social system. So it's easier to go to that analyzing side and shut it off. And create distance, create a nice ice wall that's going to protect you. Deep down, you know it's kind of like a Band-Aid. It's a way of stopping the bad things from coming in, but it's not necessarily stopping it from happening again. Unless you just keep that up, and that's gonna, you're gonna wither inside. And for the ISFJs, you have a similar situation, but it's more about the experiences. Extroverted sensing, as opposed to introverted intuiting, is capturing the experiences that you have and storing them for review later, storing them like in a library, a mental library, so that you can go back to it and you can review them, recall them, kind of ruminate over them, and pull out the meaning of those experiences. So you see, INFJs, introverted intuiting, visioning, is looking out to the future, where introverted sensing, for the ISFJ, the stabilizing function, is looking to the past and learning from those lessons, taking those lessons, relying on the tried and true, the traditions, the things that you've done before that you can trust because you've experienced them, or humanity has experienced them. Sometimes it goes to that extra level. And so both of you, the ISFJ and INFJ, are deep down wanting to protect from those negative things happening, of course, right? You don't want other people's intuitive baggage to come in for an INFJ, and for an ISFJ, you don't want to be put in a situation where you have a bad experience that your mind is just going to review later. And you're going to get stuck in this very visual, very clear loop of these experiences. Nobody wants that, but that's what you're kind of stuck with. That's the thing that is the drawback, the weakness to your powers. So what are your powers? As an IFJ, both of you have the ability to create better worlds for people. ISFJs are creating a better physical world, right? This is when you see somebody that you care about deeply and you create a physical structure that's going to support them better. You do your duty, you do your work, the labor, the actual physical supporting of them. You're getting them things, bringing them drinks and making the nice food and all this other stuff, preparing the house, making sure everything's, clean and carefully organized, I suppose, in the house so that it feels good. So that's a nice feeling good environment, a harmonious environment. In the INFJs, you're doing that, but within the mind, within the heart. It's not a physical thing. It's more of a therapist thing. It's really tuning in to how somebody feels, how your partner feels in this situation by understanding them better than they can understand you. The ISFJ is going to pick up a lot of experiences from you and get to understand you at a very deep level. But the INFJs do it in a different way, right? You do it through pattern recognizing and speculating and going into your own mindset as well. And be like, if I were in this position, this is kind of how maybe I would have felt about it. And you're then taking that on to their situation. You're going out into their world and proactively supporting them and caring for them, right? And getting that immediate feedback from the environment, from what they're doing, from how they're feeling, from what they're saying, the emotions that are coming out from there. And as I mentioned before, both of you, when things get a little overheated, when you're just not in the right state, you're not who you normally are, and you're not as supporting and caring as you normally are, that's when that inferior or aspirational function comes out. And for both of you, I consider this the vanguard, as opposed to the protector, who is kind of defensive, looking over and making sure that we're protected, we're taken care of, we're safe. It's about engaging. It's about innovating, creating new things. So for the INFJ, this is extroverted sensing. This is engaging in the world. This is when you just kind of let loose physically. You might drink too much. You might get into alcohol or sex and things like that, like physical, here and now experiences. That's what matters when you're in that mode. And you don't think more about what could happen. It's now, you don't care about the repercussions of it. And that's extremely unusual for you to not imagine what could happen and just to dive into the moment. It's a place of growth, sure. But it usually comes out when we don't give it enough time, when we don't give it enough energy and build rapport with that aspect of ourselves. For the ISFJ, this is similar. It's extraverted intuition. I consider it innovating. So it's that character, that aspect of yourself that is taking your past experiences and extrapolating them to no end, like mindstorming, brainstorming within yourself. Just like, this could happen, what if this, It's catastrophizing is what it's actually called, but it's worst case scenario thoughts. Okay, this is when you're like, well, I don't know what's going to happen if you leave, right? If you go to work today and then I'm here, I'm stuck, you might die or you might get in this car accident and I'm stuck in the house, and then I'm going to have to deal with this, and we got to take care of our cat, and like all these, like it's just unfounded, not stable extrapolations. And this causes the ISFJs to become uncharacteristically impulsive, right? So that's a similarity. It sounds very similar, right? The INFJs are doing it physically, though, in the body, as opposed to their mind, as where you usually are. And the ISFJ is going from the experiential world to the ideas and the possibilities out there. So what can you do here? Well, you both communicate very well and deal very well with other people's feelings and supporting other people. You got to make sure that it's a give and take. You got to make sure that, you also get to give, because if one is doing all the giving and supporting, then you're not, as the other one. This is kind of weird. Okay, so for example, the INFJ and the ISFJ. The ISFJ is always doing this physical supporting stuff, and the INFJ wants to do that too. But you got to make sure that that's something that you two share and express and talk about. Because if it's not spoken, then you're missing some of the key strengths of extroverted feeling, of that unifying nature, right? When you speak about it, when you get those emotions out, then both of you have an easier and more accurate way of dealing with it. Another way that you can both relate very well is through your tertiary introverted thinking function, analyzing. Now do this in a way that you are bonding through less emotional aspects, bonding through puzzles, through strategy games. Those are ways of you kind of taking a break from that extroverted world, but still working together to do something that it's not connected to emotions, and it's more technical, right? If it's like Sudoku or something like that, just normal puzzles, those are good things, ways for you to bond and support each other as you're building up this emotional understanding of how somebody actually works, of how they actually work. And you're getting more data, you're getting more feedback and data points for you to eventually understand your mate better. Another place that you can bond is through your inferior function, through your aspirational function. The INFJs is extroverted sensing, engaging. The ISFJs is extroverted intuiting or innovating. So this is, in my opinion, a great time for you to get into creativity projects. Because for the INFJ, it's do something physical. You're painting, you're doing pottery or something like that, a physical craft. For the ISFJ, that also helps bring in the possibilities of creating new things, of innovating new things. And I suggest that you both get out, maybe explore on jogs, on runs, getting into your body, as well as exploring some not too new, but still new aspects of your location, for example, like running at a park around your house or something like that, maybe going to a place that you like to go, and kind of going for a jog or bike ride around there, going for a drive or something like that, kind of exploring new places, but not just like picking up and moving to another country or something like that. Not that drastic of a place, although, that might be good. I think that's a very good connecting point for both of you to combine and relax a bit and rebuild the energy and your ability to focus on your dominant function by giving that a chance to just kind of chill for a little bit. So I know that this was a longer video, but I feel that I gave you a lot of different insights, different ways of looking at the cognitive dynamics that you have going. And just know that both of you have a very strong place in the world that is able to support each other and the rest of the world and the community, right? By maintaining this proper past experiences, by checking in with the things that you've done before, that humanity has done before, and doing your duty as an ISFJ to support that community. And for the INFJs to be able to look at things in a new way, to think about the box instead of think outside the box, to understand how our perceptions are changing how we interact with the world, and using that to change the direction of humanity's thought patterns and teach them something new. It's just a matter of understanding when you are cutting off from too much stress, too much interaction, and what you can do to better use your inferior or aspirational function. Anyway, I wish you the best of luck in your relationship, and I hope that this video helped and served you. If it did, please let me know down below what I said that really resonated or rang true for you, and any other comments and suggestions that you have from your experiences. It would be really helpful, not just for me to understand and calibrate, but for other people as well. All right, and if you're interested in more relationship videos, you can check them out there, or coaching, you can go to my website. I don't have a video over here. You can go to my website and hit me up there, and we can get into a free coaching call and really understand what you want to achieve, and I can help you get that. All right, keep up the lifelong questing. Good luck, have fun. Peace.